Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé latest news updates.
The Other Way takes an unexpected and emotional turn when Chloe uncovers shocking news about Johny news that not only shakes the foundation of their relationship, but also forces her to question every decision she has made so far. Chloe left behind her comfortable life, her family, her friends, and everything familiar to follow her heart halfway across the world. She believed that love was enough, that trust would carry them through cultural differences, language barriers, and the challenges of building a life in a foreign country. For Chloe, Johny was worth the sacrifice, or at least she thought he was. From the very beginning, their relationship seemed passionate and intense. They met online, bonded quickly, and spent countless hours talking about their future. Johny promised stability, honesty, and a shared dream of building a life together. Chloe believed every word. She imagined marriage, a home, and a future where love would conquer all obstacles. But as Chloe settles into her new surroundings, small cracks begin to appear. At first, they are easy to ignore. Johny becomes distant at times, evasive when certain topics come up. Chloe brushes it off, telling herself that stress, cultural pressure, or work responsibilities are to blame. After all, moving countries is never easy, and relationships aren't perfect. Still, a quiet sense of unease starts to grow. Johny's phone is always close to him. He steps outside to take calls. Conversations suddenly stop when Chloe enters the room. When she asks questions, Johny reassures her with a smile, telling her she worries too much. He insists that everything is fine. Chloe wants to believe him. As days turn into weeks, Chloe begins to feel isolated. She struggles with the language, feels disconnected from the culture, and misses her support system back home. Johny was supposed to be her anchor, the one person she could rely on. But instead of feeling secure, Chloe feels increasingly alone. Then comes the moment that changes everything. One evening, while Johny is out, Chloe receives a message on social media from someone she doesn't recognize. At first, she considers ignoring it. But curiosity gets the better of her. The message is short but alarming. The sender claims to know Johny and claims that Chloe doesn't know the full truth about the man she moved across the world for. Chloe's heart starts pounding. She responds cautiously, asking what the message means. The reply comes quickly, filled with details that are impossible to dismiss. The person alleges that Johny has been hiding a major part of his life, another relationship, ongoing financial obligations, and secrets that directly affect Chloe's future. At first, Chloe is in denial. She tells herself it must be a lie. People can be cruel. Jealousy and rumors destroy relationships all the time. But as she reads through the messages, the details become too specific. Dates, locations, names, information that only someone close to Johny would know. The shock hits her like a wave. Chloe sits in silence, staring at her phone, replaying every conversation she's had with Johny, every promise, every reassurance. Suddenly, moments that once seemed harmless now feel suspicious. The late nights, the vague explanations, the defensiveness whenever she asked about his past. When Johny returns home, Chloe tries to act normal, but the weight of the information is unbearable. Her voice trembles when she finally confronts him. She doesn't accuse him outright. She simply asks for the truth. Johny's reaction says everything. Instead of immediately denying the claims, he hesitates. His eyes dart away. He grows quiet. Chloe presses him, her emotions spilling over as she explains what she's been told. She demands honesty not just for herself, but for the future they are supposed to be building together. That's when Johny finally admits that he hasn't been completely truthful. He reveals that before Chloe arrived, he was involved in another serious relationship. One that didn't end as cleanly as he had led Chloe to believe. There are unresolved emotional ties, financial responsibilities, and promises he never mentioned. Johny insists that it's in the past, that it doesn't matter anymore. But for Chloe, the damage is already done. The betrayal cuts deep. Chloe feels humiliated, angry, and heartbroken. She left everything behind for a man who couldn't even be honest with her. She questions whether Johny truly loves her, or if she was simply a convenient escape from his unresolved past. As emotions escalate, the conversation turns into a heated argument. Chloe accuses Johny of manipulating her, of withholding the truth until it was too late for her to walk away, easily. Johny defends himself, claiming he was afraid of losing her, afraid that the truth would push her away. But for Chloe, fear is no excuse for deception. She breaks down, overwhelmed by the reality of her situation. She is in a foreign country, emotionally vulnerable and unsure of who she can trust. The future she envisioned now feels uncertain and fragile. In a tearful confessional, Chloe admits that she doesn't know what to do next. Part of her still loves Johny. Another part feels completely betrayed. She wonders if love can survive such a breach of trust, or if this revelation is a sign that she made a terrible mistake. Johny, on the other hand, claims he wants to fix things. He promises transparency, accountability, and a fresh start. But words alone may not be enough. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. As the episode comes to an end, viewers are left with more questions than answers. Will Chloe stay and try to repair the relationship? Or will she choose herself and walk away? Can Johny truly leave his past behind? Or will his secrets continue to haunt their future? One thing is certain, this shocking revelation has changed everything. Chloe's journey on 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, is no longer just about love across borders. It's about self-respect, truth, and the courage to face reality even when it hurts. The night after Johny's confession is one of the longest nights of Chloe's life. Sleep refuses to come. Her mind keeps replaying every word he said, every pause, every excuse. The apartment feels colder than before, even though nothing around her has physically changed. But emotionally, everything is different. Chloe lies awake, staring at the ceiling, realizing how vulnerable she truly is. She is thousands of miles away from home, dependent on a man she no longer fully trusts. The reality hits her hard. Love brought her here, but love alone may not be enough to keep her safe. The next morning, Johny acts as if nothing is wrong. He tries to make breakfast, cracks a few jokes, and avoids eye contact. That hurts Chloe even more. To her, this is not something that can simply be brushed aside. This is her life, her future, and her heart on the line. Finally, Chloe breaks the silence. She tells Johny that she needs space, not just physical space, but emotional clarity. She explains that she feels deceived, manipulated, and deeply disrespected. Johny listens, but his frustration becomes obvious. He insists that Chloe is overreacting, that the past should stay in the past. That's when Chloe snaps. She reminds him that his past is the very reason she uprooted her life. If she had known the truth earlier, she might have made a different choice. Tears stream down her face as she asks him one simple question. If you lied about this, what else are you lying about? Johny doesn't have a clear answer. In her confessional, Chloe admits that this is the first time she's truly questioned Johny's character. She says she feels like she fell in love with a version of him that may not even exist. The man standing in front of her now feels like a stranger. As the days pass, tension fills the apartment. Conversations are short and awkward. Chloe starts spending more time alone exploring the city just to escape the suffocating atmosphere at home. But instead of finding peace, she feels more lost than ever. She struggles with the language, feels stared at by locals, and realizes how dependent she is on Johny for even basic things. That dependence terrifies her. It makes her wonder whether Johny knows how much power he holds, and whether he's already taken advantage of it. Meanwhile, Johny grows increasingly defensive. He complains that Chloe is distant, that she's punishing him for something he's already apologized for. In his mind, admitting the truth should have been enough. He doesn't understand why Chloe can't just move on. This emotional disconnect only deepens the divide between them. Then another bombshell drops. Chloe receives a second message, this time from someone claiming to be connected to Johny's former relationship. The message confirms what Chloe feared most. Johny's past is not as over as he claimed. There are still financial ties, unresolved obligations, and emotional baggage that could directly affect Chloe's future. Chloe feels sick. She confronts Johny again, this time with more confidence and less hesitation. She demands full transparency. No more half-truths. No more excuses. She tells him that if they are going to continue this relationship, she needs to know everything. Now. Cornered, Johny finally admits more than he ever intended. He reveals that he still sends money back to support someone from his past. He insists it's out of responsibility, not love. But Chloe can't ignore how serious this is. Financial stability was one of the reasons she trusted him. Now she realizes that their future finances may already be compromised. For Chloe, this isn't just about jealousy, it's about security. She starts questioning whether Johny is ready for marriage, or if he rushed into this relationship to escape responsibilities he wasn't prepared to face. The thought that she may have been a rebound or a distraction is almost unbearable. The argument escalates quickly. Voices rise. Accusations fly. Johny claims Chloe doesn't understand his culture, his obligations, his sense of duty. Chloe fires back, saying honesty is universal and doesn't depend on culture. Lying is lying no matter where you come from. In a heartbreaking moment, Chloe admits she feels trapped. She doesn't have the money to leave immediately. She doesn't have friends nearby. She doesn't even know where she would go. Saying that out loud makes her realize just how much she has sacrificed, and how little protection she has in return. Johny softens for a moment. He apologizes again, saying he never wanted to hurt her. He says he loves her and wants to make things right. But Chloe is no longer sure if love is enough to rebuild what has been broken. In her confessional, she says something that resonates deeply with viewers. I didn't move across the world to feel alone. As the episode moves forward, Chloe begins considering an unthinkable option: going back home. The idea feels like failure. She worries about judgment from friends and family, about admitting she was wrong. But staying in a relationship built on secrets may be even worse. Johny, sensing he might lose her, starts making promises. He offers transparency, suggests counseling, and even talks about changing financial arrangements. But Chloe wonders if these changes are genuine or simply panic-proving. Attempts to keep her from leaving. The emotional toll becomes overwhelming. Chloe breaks down on camera, admitting that she feels torn between her heart and herself. She loves Johny, but she also loves herself, and those two things no longer seem aligned. As part 2 comes to an end, Chloe stands at a crossroads. One path leads to forgiveness and uncertainty. The other leads to independence and pain, but also dignity. The question remains, will Chloe choose to fight for love, or will she choose to walk away before she loses herself completely? By the time morning comes, Chloe knows something inside her has shifted permanently. This is no longer just about Johny's past or the secrets he kept. This is about her future and whether she is willing to sacrifice her self-worth to protect a relationship that may never fully recover. The air between them feels heavy. Every word feels risky. Every silence feels loaded. Johny tries to regain control of the situation. He suggests they go out together, hoping a change of scenery will calm things down. Chloe agrees, not because she wants to, but because she needs clarity. She needs to see him outside the walls of their apartment. Outside the tension that has consumed them, but instead of bringing them closer, the outing only highlights how disconnected they've become. Chloe notices how Johny walks ahead of her, how he speaks confidently with others while she stands quietly beside him, struggling to follow conversations. For the first time, she wonders if this is what her life will always look like. Always catching up, always depending, always second-guessing herself. That thought terrifies her. Later that evening, Chloe video calls her family back home. She hesitates before telling them the truth, ashamed that her dream hasn't turned out the way she imagined. But once she starts talking, the words pour out. The lies, the hidden relationship, the financial obligations, the loneliness. Her family listens in stunned silence. They don't yell. They don't judge. They simply ask one question that hits Chloe harder than anything else. Are you happy? Chloe can't answer. In her confessional, Chloe admits that she's been so focused on proving that love can work across borders that she ignored her own emotional needs. She says she feels like she's been fighting for the relationship alone, while Johny fights only when he feels like he's about to lose her. That realization hurts more than any secret. When Chloe confronts Johny again, this time the tone is different. She's calmer, more resolved. She tells him she needs time apart, not as a punishment, but as a necessity. She wants to stay somewhere else for a few days to think, to breathe, to reconnect with herself. Johny panics. He accuses Chloe of abandoning him, of not understanding how hard this is for him too. He says she's making him look like the villain when all he did was make mistakes. But Chloe doesn't raise her voice. She simply tells him that mistakes don't define him, choices do. And right now, she has to choose herself. The separation is emotional and tense. Johny watches silently as Chloe packs a small bag. He asks her if this means it's over. Chloe doesn't give him a clear answer. She says she doesn't know yet, but for the first time, she's okay with not knowing. Staying alone, even temporarily, gives Chloe a sense of strength she didn't realize she had lost. She navigates the city by herself, makes mistakes, asks for help, and slowly begins to feel more capable. The fear that once paralyzed her starts to loosen its grip. Meanwhile, Johny spirals. Without Chloe around, he is forced to face the consequences of his actions. He admits in his confessional that he underestimated how deeply his dishonesty would affect her. He says he thought love would be enough to smooth things over, but now he's realizing that love without trust is fragile. As days pass, Chloe reflects deeply. She writes, she thinks. She replays red flags she once ignored. She admits that part of her stayed because leaving felt like admitting failure. But now she understands that staying in something harmful is not strength, it's self-betrayal. When Chloe and Johny finally meet again, the atmosphere is tense, but honest. Chloe tells him that she still cares for him, but care is not the same as commitment. She explains that rebuilding trust would take time, consistency, and full transparency, not just promises made in moments of fear. Johny says he's willing to do whatever it takes. He talks about changing his life, his priorities, his habits. But Chloe listens differently now. She's no longer searching for reassurance. She's evaluating reality in a powerful moment. Chloe says something that defines her entire journey. I didn't move across the world to disappear. I came here to grow, and if I have to walk away to do that, I will. The episode ends without a final decision, but the shift is undeniable. Chloe is no longer the woman who arrived full of blind hope. She is stronger, more aware, and no longer willing to accept half-truths in exchange for love. As viewers are left on a cliffhanger, One question dominates everything. Will Johny rise to meet Chloe's new standards, or has this relationship already reached its breaking point? One thing is certain, Chloe's story on 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way is no longer just about romance. It's about resilience, it's about boundaries, and it's about choosing yourself, even when love makes that choice painfully difficult.